They called Wendy Williams crazy. But what if she was actually telling the truth? What if everything she said about Hollywood was the reason she got silenced? Now, Katt Williams is pulling back the curtain, exposing what really happened to Wendy and warning who might be next. This isn't just gossip. This is power, control, and fear.
I infiltrate the Illuminati, find out what the fuck they got going on, get the information, run back to y'all, tell y'all everything I know. That's my motherfucking job. But I don't know how many more times I'm gonna be able to sneak in there. Thanks to Shannon Sharp and 90 million views, I can't sneak very often. So while I was in there this last time, knowing that my last report might be my last report, I went in there and I got information for everybody. Look at my white friends. Us too? That's right, white secrets.
When they realized Katt couldn't be bought, they flipped the script. He was blackballed, labeled difficult, and erased from opportunities. He even claimed he lost major deals because he refused to compromise his image. In Hollywood, once you sign those massive contracts, they don't just pay you, they own you.
The one comedian, as we've been sitting here doing this interview, that you hold in very high regard is Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle walked away from $50 million. You said it was more. Tell the story.
That's right.
I will let you tell it.
No, you're
no,
the best.
I want you to tell it.
You really are the best. You're proving it here today. As much as I'm proving it, you proving it. You proving it. Yeah, that wasn't the thing. It wasn't. People say that. He lost $50 million. No, that's not even close to what happened to this dude. And until you understand what happened to the dude, you don't understand what happened. Like, no, not they offered him $50 million and he turned it down. Who gonna turn down $50 million? Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right, because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no.
And when pressure didn't work, they went deeper. Katt revealed that his personal life was targeted, dragging him into legal battles over his own family. Suddenly, the fight wasn't about fame anymore. It was about survival.
This is their 9th time coming to my house. The problem was this time they came to my office and took my kids from an office. Not from my house, from an office. So now when I can't have my kids at my office,
that's an issue.
I must be the most terrible black dude. Because here's the whole thing. You gonna charge me with child endangerment? After I adopted 7 children and had them for 14 years in this state? Really? You coming after my kids now? Because it was already a witch hunt. Now you want my babies? Yeah.
Sound familiar? That's exactly what happened to Wendy Williams. She spoke openly about industry power players, including Sean Combs, and questioned what was happening behind the scenes. The result? She was discredited, isolated, and pushed out.
Right, well, Kanye had the kilt, and then ASAP had the long dress.
Yeah.
Have you seen the ASAP picture?
Yeah, I'm not down with any of that. I mean, wouldn't be my man.
No?
No.
We brought in Lord Jamar from Brand New Being, because he had made some comments about that.
What did he say?
Well, he talked about the whole feminization of hip hop culture from the 80s on.
I think he's taking the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, I mean, he talked about how when we were younger, you wear an ear in your left ear, and that was considered straight, and ear in your right ear, that'd be gay, and then at one point, people started wearing both earrings, and you know what I mean?
And then they started wearing girl pants, and then they're wearing jeggings, and then, yes, it's very effeminized, but be very clear, there were lots of homosexuals in hip hop back in the 80s too, that was what's worse, hip hop wearing skirts or hip hop being closeted and having a plethora of kids to prove manhood that, and denial of something that you shouldn't have to deny, which is your sexuality. Mm-hmm. So I hear what Jamar is saying, but we come from a very homosexual era of hip hop as well. There was a radio personality once upon a time. Her name was Wendy Williams, and she was practically burned at the stake for talking about such. And now it's all come full circle.
After that, things escalated fast. Wendy was reportedly diagnosed, removed from the spotlight, and cut off from the world. No freedom, no voice, no control. The the same woman who once controlled headlines, suddenly couldn't control her own life.
Series of depositions that not only prove that she's being held against her will, but also threaten to dismantle the Hollywood paedophile ring's sinister web of coercion and control. We've got the tapes, and they're shocking. It's clear that Wendy is currently living in fear for her life. They're locking up a mentally stable woman who holds incriminating evidence against some of the world's most powerful people, and they're doing it in broad daylight in front of the entire world.
But here's the twist. New evaluations reportedly suggest something shocking. The narrative around her condition may not have been what everyone was told. So the question becomes, was she silenced instead of treated?
Terms of Wendy's guardianship seem to be extreme. I've spoke to her several months ago, and she just sounds like the same Wendy. Yes, is she quirky? Sure. Is she eccentric? Sure. She always has been.
Even insiders like Gene Deal, a former associate of Diddy, have hinted that Wendy's downfall wasn't random. According to claims, powerful people decide who stays relevant and who disappears.
She does not have frontal lobal dementia. So that should be game, set, match.
And Wendy isn't the only one. Dave Chappelle walked away from a massive deal at the peak of his career. Why would someone leave millions behind? Because sometimes the cost of staying is much higher than the money.
What people don't understand about Puff is that he held the entertainment grip, especially for the people who was his former artists, in a chokehold. If you didn't do what he say do, if he didn't like you, you would never ever work for Bad Boy or anybody in the entertainment business again. He did it to Kirk Burroughs. You understand? He did it to Wendy Williams. He did it to a lot of people, bruh. So now her going back is just wanting to get food on her table, keep a roof over her head. Because nobody was probably telling her, yo, I can't work with you. I can't deal with you unless Puff say so. I'm not gonna work with you. I'm not gonna do anything, because they didn't want to make him mad, because he had enough power in the business to stop her.
Katt has been saying this for years, that success in Hollywood often comes with hidden conditions. He even named figures like Jeffrey Epstein when talking about how power networks operate behind closed doors.
In order for the type of ratings we need and attention to be on this thing. See, what I'm saying is, in business, nothing is coincidental, or you would be hearing who's losing money. In all of these situations, it's only the artist that's losing. Somebody makes big money. When these rappers get killed, not incidental. Somebody made $100 million and now don't have to talk to that artist or none of their crew, don't have to validate none of their contracts. Now only got to deal with the mama, only got to see her once a year, and it's over. And the money goes up and up and up. So they killed this $20 million guy, but they reaped $60 million in benefits.
Wow.
And they had some people from your city do it.
Wow.
I'm saying there's the good side and the bad side of these businesses.
But think about what you just think about what you just said. That's extremely thoughtful and powerful.
And when you look deeper into cases tied to Epstein, things only get more disturbing. Allegations, connections, unanswered questions, and a system that many believe protects itself at all costs.
That you say that, but your
we
fans
take it
have
another
a
way.
difference of opinion.
We your fans. We think you cold.
Prove my points.
Well, that's why I said your fans have a difference of opinion.
But Dave Chappelle was decapitated in front of us. And until we deal with that, until we deal with the fact that a devout Muslim who doesn't eat bacon was accused of being a crackhead, until we establish the fact that they said that he went to Africa to smoke cocaine when we know they don't have running water and food over there, when they don't have paved roads over there. You saying he flew past Chicago and Miami and LA and New York and Detroit. You saying he went past Cleveland and Fort Pierce, Florida, and he went past Okeechobee and Oakland. You saying he went to another country where they're not eating?
Right.
You talking about somebody who has a wife and children, 5 children, and lives on a farm, doesn't live here in Hollywood. You saying you convinced people that person was an insane crackhead? Wow. And he hasn't been on movies and TV for 8 years? Is that correct? Wow. Okay, then don't tell me About what you want to tell me about? I just watched you decapitate the king in front of me. And then act like he's supposed to catch up and be a regular comedian like everybody else. But no.
He didn't go for that.
That's not how it went. He was out there with us for 20 years. They called him Pilot Boy because he had 19 pilots in Hollywood and everybody passed on him and said his show wasn't worth it.
What do you think of
Then when he made $500 million, they said even though his contract said he should get half of it, they said he made too much for the contract to be valid, so we'll offer you 10% of what you made. You mean he made $500 million and they offered him 50? Yes. And he said, what do you think my fans are gonna say when they find out you offered me 10% of what I made you? And they said, your fans will believe that you're a crazy crackhead by the time you get home. And my nigga got on a flight in LA, and by the time he got to Ohio, it was so. And 8 years later, he hasn't been in a movie and or television. Is just now trying to do his real comeback at Radio City Music Hall.
Katt also mentioned names like Chris Tucker, raising questions about choices, pressure, and what really happens when celebrities say no to the system.
He is a supplier. Epstein, Weinstein, like these guys knew what these extremists liked and provided it, and provided the way for you to to have $1 billion and not create a fantasy island type environment has not existed throughout history.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if I was going to run some global power organization, I would try to co-opt every single leader, try to offer support, bring them out to wherever the fuck I have my big ass meetings, fly everybody in private jets, talk about the climate crisis.
All organizations have to follow the same rules.
Yeah. That's wild.
Recruitment is an important facet of all.
We have to get some young global leaders.
Well, understand, this is the only reason that we can talk about these big Illuminati-like entities at this period of time. It's just because of time. They aged out. You can't get in new, so everybody got decrepit over there, and they can't exchange, really.
There are even past testimonies and interviews that hint at powerful people being connected in ways the public barely understands. Nothing is ever fully proven, but the patterns? They keep repeating.
This is an FBI file that says one of Epstein's, it says what appears to say BFs, best friends perhaps, Jean-Luc Brunel, has, quote, helped get girls. He is wanting to cooperate. And it goes on to discuss a plan for that, and that he's hired a lawyer and how that would work. And so these are notes that date all the way back to a period where Brunel was believed to have considered cooperating. If you haven't heard of him, if you haven't followed this case as closely, he's one of the key officials because he held himself out as a kind of modeling scout. He did, and that's debated over whether he was actually an alleged sex trafficker, but that was one of the tools they would use. He went into businesses that had arrangements with Epstein. He was on the flights a lot. So his name was one of those that had been around before.
Dave Chappelle once explained it perfectly. The trap isn't force, it's temptation. Money, fame, power. Most people grab it and never let go, even when it costs them everything. But he did something rare. He let go.
Wealth was so vast. You know, the fact that he had this fleet of planes. We've heard a lot about the Lolita Express. What happened on the Lolita Express?
Everything that happened on the Lolita Express and his other planes was the same thing that happened in his bedrooms and the massage rooms, on the beach, wherever we were. They did not stop because we're in the air. 95% of the time, there was always sex involved. Jeffrey couldn't take a 2-hour flight without having to ejaculate. That's how sick this man was.
How did you live every day? How did you get on board that plane? How did you live knowing you're going off to New York or to the island or to wherever you were about to be trafficked to? You must have been a ball of dread and anxiety.
I was I was horrified, I was sad, I was angry, I was disgusted. I was a shell, and the only way that I could cope with what I was going through was, taking Xanax. And Xanax is like an anti-anxiety tablet, but it also, it took away that feeling of anger, sadness. It made me feel numb. It was a numbing tablet, and it helped me cope with what was going on at the time. It took a lot of people involved. It took doctors, psychiatrists, gynecologists, dentists. All these people knew what was going on.
Any other names together. The police are out on stage. They've cut to commercial. You didn't see what happened. By the time they come out, people have been removed. It goes on. It's certain ways things are handled when it's not intentional. When things go smoothly, but they seem chaotic, that means there was forethought and a plan. Somebody, even if it looks like, Janet Jackson just had a wardrobe malfunction. Yeah, there's no such thing.
Correct.
I don't care who you blaming.
I believe that.
Somebody benefited. Yeah. So in all of these situations, there's a business involved and there's real money involved, and somebody's benefiting from this thing that looks like, oh, that just happened. Nah, no way. No way.
So now the real question is, are these just coincidences or pieces of a much bigger system? Because if even a fraction of what Katt Williams is saying is true, then this isn't just about celebrities anymore. It's about how influence works, how voices get controlled, and how quickly truth can be buried. And maybe the scariest part? The people who speak out aren't always wrong. They're just the ones we're told not to believe.